Sticker here. We're going to do another video. I'm going to do my yearly wrap-up, which I haven't been doing this very long, but for what I've done, I think I did pretty good. Most of the coins I found in this is I found mostly in rolled coins, but I'll show you some coins I found metal detecting, and we can go from there. This is my son Brandon.
Hello everyone.
He's the big coin collector, and I'm going to let him say a few words here. So take it away, Brandon.
Oh, thanks Ghost Digger, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge coin collector, but I have had some, long interest in a few years. Today I'm just going to take you into some not so common US currency that I have that we don't see every day, but once you find it every once in a while, you might want to put it away. And then once we finish there, we're going to take you up to our neighbors in the north up in Canada and show you some different coins that I have that I think you all might like. So stay tuned and hope you enjoy.
Okay folks, we're back here again. I just wanted to do this. This of course is my son Brandon.
Hi everyone.
And his new bride-to-be.
Hi.
Her name's Yulia, and she's from Russia. So I'd like her to say a few words to you in Russian, if she doesn't mind.
Of course. Привет всем. Надеюсь, у вас у всех сегодня отличный день.
Whoa. I have no clue what she said, but...
I said, hi everyone. I hope you're having a great day today.
That's cool. Okay. Alright, we're going to go check out our coins now. Okay, I'm back. Here, I'd like to show you now. These are all my finds I found since November of this year. And I just started doing this. A lot of them are from buying buying rolled coins, going through them and looking for silver, which I don't know, maybe to all that's there's not a whole lot here, but there's pretty many. And then I had purchased these from a bank at face value, but I'll let Brandon talk to you more about those because he knows a lot more about them. But we'll start over here in the 50-cent pieces. Okay, these here are pretty well just new 50-cent pieces. Okay, and they range from like 2001 to the present. Okay, and what they call these, they're NIFCs, or not issued for circulation. So you can collect these. I mean, if you get a pile of them, I've heard people say that if you go to cash them in, if you have a whole bunch of them, you might be able to get like 70 cents or 75 cents a piece for them. But as far as collecting them, like having one and trying to sell it, I mean, you're not going to make nothing on it. It's pretty much just worth 50 cents. Okay. Okay, move over this way. These are all silver 50-cent pieces that I found looking through rolls with 50-cent pieces. Okay, starting back, I think this one right here, if y'all can see this. Okay, 1964 and back, they're 90% silver. Okay, and anywhere from 63 back to 1970, they're like 40% silver. So I just thought you guys would like to know that if you want to collect coins. So look for anything from 1970 all the way back. You might have a little chunk of change in your pocket. Okay, now here's the nickels. I went over these before with you. These are some of the nickels I found. The buffalo heads, or buffalo nickels. And I got the 1 V nickel. Now these were all found in coin rolls. I mean, you just don't know what you're going to get unless you look through them. I mean, I never thought I'd find what I found, but it's amazing. It's so neat to find them. So, and then moving along here. These here is what they call them war nickels. 1942 to 1945. Remember, they got the mint marks on the back. It's either a P, a D, or an S. The P stands for Philadelphia. The D stands for Denver. And the S stands for San Francisco. Them are all the mints that were made when they made these coins. Okay. Now, I also metal detect. Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Going too fast, ahead of myself. These here are all the dimes I found. And they range from 1964 back. They're all silver. Sorry I don't have no quarters to show you. I ain't got one of them yet. We'll get them, I'm sure. Okay, now getting back to this. This here's the coins I found metal detecting. And this is what they call clad. I'm not sure why they call it that, but they're just, you know, everyday common coins. You know, there's nothing that's worth any value other than face value of the coin. But that's what I found since November. And if I could, you know, you just imagine if you go out there every day and metal detect what you could find. I mean, you can double, triple these piles. And I can't wait. It's winter now. You can't get out. It's too cold. I mean, the temperature outside is 0 and below. So them days are coming soon. Each day I'm counting the days. So, okay, well. So here, I'll just show you again everything I found. Oh, I forgot about these ones too. I'm sorry. I get way ahead of myself. Okay, these nickels here. I'll show you one here. See how nice and shiny it is? Okay, evidently these were like uncirculated. Like this one here, 1965. You can see how shiny it is. I got them in rolls. I've got two of them actually, 65 and a 67, I think. Yeah, 67. So, and I put them in the sleeve so they don't get all scratched up. And you know, if you get any silver coins, that's the best thing. If you don't want to get them all scratched up and, you know, nicked or whatever, put them in these little plastic sleeves. They're real cheap. They only cost, I don't know, you can maybe get a dozen or a couple dozen for a couple bucks. I mean, they're not expensive at all. So, and then of course these nickels here, the goofball nickels that I found. This one here, it's a two-headed nickel, which I probably showed you on my last video. It's got two heads. And apparently, I guess, I didn't know before, but I researched them. They're used for like magician tricks, but they are actually worth a couple dollars. I looked it up, and you know, people will pay up $3 to $10 for one of those. So I just put it away, you know, just something neat to hold on to. And then there's that artificial stamp nickel that I found. It's a 1964, and of course that year's no good for silver, but it's pretty neat to keep. collector's item. And a 1942 non-silver nickel. I also held on to that too. So, one other thing I'm going to share with you too is right here. And apparently they sell this stuff, but if you store your coins away and to keep the moisture out of them, get this the desiccant little pouches. Like you find them in different things. Hold on to them. Throw them in with your coins. It'll keep the moisture off. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I heard through the grapevine that that's what people do, so that's what I do. So there you have it. That's pretty much my wrap up for the year 2017. I hope you enjoyed this. Okay, I'm going to go get Brandon now. He's going to do some talking. He's going to tell us a little bit about this currency here. These dollar bills. And he also has another surprise for you guys. So I'm going to turn it over to Brandon. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Hi everyone, I'm back and I'm here to show you some different forms of US currency that are more dated than what we're used to seeing in circulation. Up at the top we have two $10 bills that were from 1934. They were made in two different series. The original just has 1934 on it and the other has 1934A. This is one of the earliest bills that has the grain stamp on it. I think it looks more of a light green in certain lighting, but it could just be due to the age of the bill. Someone knows more information than I do, just feel free to leave a comment because I'm always looking to learn. And other than some of the different wording by the Treasury Department on there, it's just a normal $10 bill that can be used today. A little bit lower we have some $5 bills and a couple $2 bills that have a red seal stamp on it. And these are considered to be United States notes. These were made from 1862 to 1971. And so this was back in a time whenever the money was in the gold standard and the silver standard. And this money itself was backed by the Treasury Department itself, not the Federal Reserve. So at the top of the bill, you can see it says the United States note. And this was seen on $1 bills, $2 bills, $5 bills, and at least $10 bills. And I'm sure it goes up in other denominations. But unfortunately, I'm not as well understanding of the bills as I am of coins. So if you bear with me, I'm still trying to do the best I can for you here. And after that, we also have silver certificates, mainly the ones that I've been able to come across are $1 bills, but I was able to snag a $5 bill actually yesterday. These were made between 1878 and 1964. They were produced by the silver agitation by angry U.S. citizens that occurred during the Fourth Coinage Act of 1873, which moved the United States from silver standard to the gold standard. And until 1968, these were redeemable for face value of silver dollar coins, meaning that if you had just a $1 one of these, you could go and exchange it for a $1 silver coin or $5 silver coin or whatever denomination you have. And then also from June 24th of 1967 to June 24th of 1968, you could actually redeem this for face value of silver bullion. But after 1968, the Federal Reserve, after 1968, it was changed that you could only cash it in for Federal Reserve notes, so they no longer are good for trading in for silver, but they can still be used as normal currency. They're more of a collector's item now, so if you're lucky enough to come across one in circulation, I would definitely just hang on to it, because you don't see them every day, and they're pretty cool looking. And then finally, over here on the right, I just have a couple $2 bills. The ones with the green stamp are the more ones you'll commonly see today. I know some people like them, some people hate them. It's just kind of a personal preference. I have a couple just because, like I said, you don't see them every day, but you can go to most banks and they will most of them will have them in the vaults. So they're not as rare as you would think, but the ones that have the red stamp are the ones you more would like to look for. And as you can see up on the top, I have two different forms on them, where the seal's on the left side versus the seal on the right. So I just thought maybe I'd show you some of these unusual bills that you have. If any of you have any comments or anything to speak on that I may not have touched upon, or I may have touched upon incorrectly, be more than happy to take your comments. Thank you.
Okay, we're finishing up here with this, and now Brandon has something else to show you. So give us a minute here, we'll set it up, and we'll let him go from there.
Welcome back, everyone. Brandon here. I have a nice little treat for you all here. We're going to take a trip up north of the border to visit some of our friends in Canada. One of my passions is collecting Canadian currency because you find it a lot of the time mixed in with our own, and because most of it's about the same size, same material, and but they got a few differences. So I'm going to show you some of what I have. And although this is nowhere near the full amount of my Canadian collection, most of it is at a different location. So we're just working with what I got here. So hopefully you like what I have. To start our journey up into Canada, I have some Canadian pennies here for you. Just a quick fact about the pennies. Pennies made until 1997, or 1996, sorry, were 98% copper, which is a lot different than the pennies minted here in the United States when they switched over to a more zinc alloy in the early 80s. Just want to let you all know that this is nowhere near the full collection of Canadian currency that I have. This most of it's in another location, but I have a good chunk here just to show you some things. So some of the older coins I have actually have King George V of England on the front of the coin. So next time I do a more fuller video, I'll be able to show you more of what I have. But to start, I actually have a couple that have King George VI on the front. It shows him facing to the left. And on the reverse side, as you'll see, you'll have the two Canadian maple leaves that you'll see on all these Canadian pennies, except for certain, celebratory issues that they released. The King George VI coins were from 1937 to 1952, and then starting from 1953 until the present day on all Canadian currency, you're going to find Queen Elizabeth II of England, but her coins have actually changed throughout the years, so I'm just going to show you a few of the differences between that. This first coin we have of Queen Elizabeth II is called the Laureate Portrait. It has a young Queen Elizabeth II facing to the right with what looks like a ribbon in her hair. Same side, still has the maple leaves and everything. These pennies were mainly from 1953 to 1964, where they switched to what is known as the tiara portrait. Which ran from 1965 and ran until 1989. Some of the Canadian pennies that you'll find in 1967, known as the Centennial Penny, have the rock dove on the reverse side instead of the maple leaf. You'll find these pretty commonly. I have maybe a couple dozen myself of these, but they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool to find. In the early 90s, they switched to a more updated portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with an updated tiara crown. This has an aging Queen Elizabeth II on the front. And what's pretty cool is it's easy to tell the time period from these coins based on the front.
And unlike King George the Fifth and King George the Sixth, Queen Elizabeth faces on the right versus the left, which I think is very interesting. And then the most recent of the Canadian coins, from 2003 to onward, you have the uncrowned Queen Elizabeth II. These are going to be what you're most likely going to find if you venture up into Canada. You have Queen Elizabeth II with a different hairstyle, and she's not wearing a crown at the moment. Definitely these coins are a lot, they're going to be a lot shinier because they're more of a copper-plated zinc, or they're going to be a multiply-plated steel. It is fun to note that the steel pennies are magnetic, where the copper-plated zinc ones are not, so that's how you're able to tell which of the pennies that you have. And then I just have the other, the reverse sides that show the 2 maple leaves and the rock dove for you. And then, like I said before, whenever I am able to get to the rest of my collection, I'll be able to show you some of the other Canadian pennies I have. A lot of the older Canadian pennies actually are a lot larger than this one, than these current ones today. And it's also fun to note that at the end of 2012, Canada stopped using the penny, allowing some businesses still take them, some don't. Most places will just round your total either to the nearest nickel or the nearest dime. So those are the Canadian pennies, and hope you enjoyed. So now let's move up to nickels. Unlike in the United States, where we have a few years where the nickels contain silver, Canada's all 100% nickel. So we're not going to find any silver hunting up for these nickels. But I do have here tonight to show you King George V on the nickel, also known as the Imperial Crown portrait. You have a crowned King George V looking to the left. And then on the reverse side, we have written numerically and in words 5 for 5 cents, and also Canada written at the top. And then this nickel is from 1928. The nickels, starting with George VI, which are to the right, and up to the present day of 2018, will have the reverse side of a beaver. So again, from 1937 to 1952, they have King George VI on the back, or I'm sorry, King George on the front, and then from 1953 to present day, you have Queen Elizabeth II, and then I have 4 different front portraits of Queen Elizabeth II. And then rounding off the nickels that I have here, I have 2 different ones. This first one has the reverse side of a rabbit instead of the normal beaver. This was for the centennial of Canada in 1967. And then this one in 1997 was the 125th anniversary of the Canadian Confederation. So it has the normal beaver on the back, but it just has some different dates at the bottom, 1867 to 1867 to 1997. So that would be 130 years, not 125. I apologize for that. And now we're going to move up to the Canadian dimes. So here's where we're actually going to first start hitting some silver. At least I know up to King George VI to 1967, Canadian dimes were 80% silver, rather than the 90% silver that you're used to for most coins. And then they had a 2-year period from 1967 to 1969 where they were 50% silver, and then they switched to a more hybrid configuration. Starting off with the dimes, I have a very old King George VI portrait. A lot of the wording on the front is still there, but if we flip it over to the back, most of it's very worn away. You can see the 10 and maybe the beginning of the word 10 in letters, but the 10 cents in Canada is not there, and there's no date, so I'm not sure what year this is from, but it is in fact silver, so it's pretty cool to have something like that. And then to the right, I have some silver King George the Sixth fronts. Those lasted again from 37 to 52, and at 80% silver. And then I have another silver dime that has Queen Elizabeth II on it. The ones from this portrait are going to be are all going to be 80% silver, which is nice. And then starting from the next portrait with the tiara, some of these are still going to be silver, and then after 67, and in 1967 they can either be 80% or 50%. So so everything from the modified tiara to the present day is not gonna be silver containing at all. And then I have the reverse side of one of them, which has a type of sail ship. I'm not sure of the boat that it is at the moment, so if any of you know that, please feel free to educate me on that in the comments. And then I also have the celebration of the Canadian Confederation that had a fish on the back. And then also to the right of that, I just have a pile that has they're mostly silver dimes, and there's a few that are probably aren't. But I just figured I'd show you. I have a nice little cluster of silver ones, and then I have a lot more of the King George V and King George VI in my other location with the rest of my collection. But I just thought it's really cool that these are silver, and even though they're not American, it's still cool to have silver coins from all over the place. So I hope you all like this, and if you have any other further questions or comments, feel free to leave in the video, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. And we're gonna go up to quarters now. Okay, quarters. To be honest, I don't have any of my silver ones with me, so I'll do the silver Canadian quarters in the next portion of my video. For now, I just want to show you the backside of some of these because some of these are really cool. I have 3 different portrait styles of Queen Elizabeth II. And then starting to the right of the crownless portrait, I have a 2013 variant, which I believe is Wales. So you have a whale or two on the back of that. I know some of the other ones are the Explorer, which celebrates the 100-year anniversary of the Arctic expedition. And then to the right of that, starting in 1999, each month had a theme. And I have 3 of those quarters here, so I figured I'd just tell you about some of them. The first one is 3 children holding hands for September, and it's called Through a Child's Eye. And actually, September is written in English and French because Canada has 2 nationally recognized languages, English and French, as most of you probably know. The next one is October, which is called Tribute to the First Nation. And then the third one I have is December, and it is called This is Canada. Now, I'm sure if some of you are into Canadian coins, you'll have seen some of the other ones. I'm not as familiar with them myself because I only have 3 of them, but I would love to have the whole set one day. I think that would be pretty cool. So I'm going to move on to the last couple ones I have. I actually found all these at once. These were made for the 2010 Winter Olympics in Toronto, and so all of them have different reverses. The first one is cross-country skiing. The third one I actually skipped to is snowboarding, and then the middle one is for ice hockey. And I mean, I myself, I'm a big hockey fan. I'm a big Penguins fan. So it was really cool to see get a coin that has hockey on it, especially it's combines 2 of my favorite passions. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then finally, I have the normal reverse side of the Canadian quarter for you, which is I believe is a caribou, not a moose. So that's the quarters for you. Like I said, I have a lot more at my other location. A lot of them are silver, so I'm more than happy to share some of these with you. And then now I'm going to show you to a couple special treats, the loonies and toonies, if you would. So here we have the Canadian $1 coin, also known as the loonie, due to the common loon being on the reverse side of the coin. Here I have 3 different portraits of Queen Elizabeth II, and then beside that is the normal reverse side with the loon on the back, and then the one beside it is, I believe, the bicentennial, which has some people gathered outside. Looks like one of the cities. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm not sure if it's Ottawa or Quebec or Montreal, so I'm sure if one of you know the answer to that, please, feel free to comment. And then also beside it, we have a really cool coin, the $2 coin that Canada has, also called as the toonie, in following with the loonie. I don't have very many of these, but here it's bimetallic, with a nickel outside and an aluminum copper interior. The normal reverse has a bear on the back of it, and it has Canada $2. And then to the right of that, I have a special reverse. I actually am not sure what the reverse of this one is. I will need to look into that more, but in my next video, I'll retouch up on this one. If anyone could tell me now, that would be great. But until then, it looks really cool though. And then finally, I have a $1 bill for you. This is the only exposure I've had to Canadian money. It has French and English written on it for $1 and for Bank of Canada. And then this is the reverse side of it. So hopefully, if I ever get a chance to get up there, I'll be able to get some other bills and be able to compare some of the ones that they have. But I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a video I've done. This is my first time explaining coins, so I was probably really nervous and whatnot. But anyway, I have a lot more Canadian coins I'd be more than happy to show you. I'll definitely do a part 2 of this, and I'm hoping to do some coins from around the world. Whereas my dad, Ghost Digger, is more interested in finding U.S. coins. I love U.S. coins, but I also love coins from everywhere around the world. My goal is to have something from everywhere one day, so some of you could help me out with that. That would be really cool. But until then, feel free to give us some comments, subscribe to Ghost Digger's page. I'm going to be working on my own page here soon enough, as soon as I get some time and resources to do that, and I hope you enjoyed. Keep on watching.
Okay, we're back now. We finished, explaining some of these coins to you. Yeah, it was kind of fun doing this with Brandon. I mean, like I said, he's the coin guy. He enjoys all these old coins and some of these foreign money. And he will get back to you on some of the coins he has, because he has a lot of them.
I just gotta find them all.
Yeah. So, I hope you enjoyed our little program, and please subscribe to us. And if there's anything on, anyone that knows what we was talking about that he wants to ask questions about, please feel free to leave some comments and let us know. All right, thanks for watching, and keep on digging.
Today we live, today we breathe, today we know that we are strong when we are weak. Today we trust, we overcome, take every chain that kept us slaves and throw them off. We're not waiting for permission, we defy our inhibition, like our middle name is fearless, unafraid. If we're gonna fly, we fly like eagles, unstoppable. If we're gonna fear, we fear no evil. We will rise, by your power we will go, by your spirit we are bold. If we're gonna stand, we stand as giants. If we're gonna walk, we walk as lions. It's always been. Before we face the fight, we know who's gonna win. We live by faith and not by sight.